This is Snoooz with 3 O's. The pitch here is pretty simple. This is an AI assistant for your inbox. It can draft replies and even send emails automatically if you let it. It can categorize your messages, route emails to the right person, follow up with leads, and even learn from your previous responses or your own data, FAQs, support documents, you name it. It can take the information you have about your business and use it to write better emails. So instead of your inbox being a never-ending source of work, Snoooz is trying to turn it into a system that is mostly taken care of for you. But email automation is one of those categories where humans are just a little bit hesitant to give up full control, as you should be. The wrong email sent to the wrong person could literally end your career. So how does Snoooz actually work? Can it write emails that sound like you? Can you trust it with real customers? And is the automation flexible enough to handle all of the tasks and all the junk that comes through your inbox each and every day? So in this video, I'm going to show you what Snoooz does, why I think it could be useful, what I like about it, and where I think it still needs some work. Now, before we get into all of that, I want to let you know this video is sponsored by AppSumo, and Snoooz, the lifetime deal, just launched as part of AppSumo's Sumo Day event. Sumo Day runs from June 7th, so it's been going a couple days now, until June 11th, ending at noon Central. If you're an AppSumo Plus member, you get an extra 24 hours, so you can shop until June 12th at noon Central Time. So if you watch this video and Snoooz looks like it's a good fit for you and you want to try it out, I've got a link down below in the description that helps support this channel if you click it. If you're interested in learning more about Sumo Day, I've got a complete roundup on my website. You can click over to that in the description as well. I'll link it directly over there. All right, enough talk. Let me show you what Snoooz can do. Here's the Snoooz interface. I've already got 2 email addresses connected here. One is a Gmail account and another is an iCloud account. That's essentially just an IMAP/SMTP account. So Snoooz will work with Outlook, Gmail, as well as any other IMAP or SMTP email account, no problem. And as you can see here, I can have multiple accounts connected up. How many accounts can you connect up? It depends on the plan you buy from AppSumo. The lowest price plan is only 1 email user, but if you get up to tier 2, you can get up to 3 users. Now, the higher you go, the more email addresses you get, and you also unlock more features. I'll talk about that as we go through the product, what is included where. By the way, relevant to what we're talking about right now, if you want to use SMTP/IMAP, you do need to be on at least tier 2. So step 1 of using Snoooz, connect up your account. Step 2 would be if you have multiple accounts, you might want to connect them up to different workspaces. A workspace is exactly what it sounds like. All of the training data, the response type, all of your preferences can be segmented to a workspace. So for me, I've got my work emails and my personal emails. How I respond to a personal email is going to be a lot different than how I respond to a work email. So it makes sense to have different preferences for each. Let me open up my work workspace here, and you can see how things are organized inside of Snoooz. We've essentially got 3 different ways that it's going to use to compose emails via AI for you. We've got rules, which actually I think you should look at categories first. My preferred way of working with Snoooz would be to triage your messages into categories. So in this case, they've given me some default categories here: urgent, needs a reply, FYI, notifications, and promotional. So it's just going to use AI to look at the contents of your email and then triage them into appropriate categories. Once that's done, we can set up rules that actually apply to specific categories and then generate appropriate responses. So what you would do here is just add a new rule. And let's say this is a promotional email. I'll just give it the name promotional. Step 1 is, when does this rule run? I want it to run always, but I could set it to be scheduled. And then I want it to run when the category is set to promotional. So I'll click right here, and these are all of my options for how the rule can be activated. I'm going to choose category, and then I'll say equals promotional. Now, any message that comes through gets triaged as promotional will be run through this rule, which we can actually craft how the AI responds. So once it's deemed promotional, then we can either send a reply, draft a reply, forward the email. So that's important. If something is constantly hitting your inbox, but it's really supposed to go to your associates, you can set up a rule to do that very easily. Quite nice. Or what I'm going to do here is to label the email only, and then I'll set it to the promotional label. Now, this is a very simple way to get acquainted with rules. It's not something you even need to set up really, but I thought I'd show you kind of how the automation builder here works. Now, in a second, I'll go through and make a more advanced rule that actually involves writing a response, but I want to preface that by saying you're not really going to live in this interface. Once you get everything configured how you like, which by the way, you can do via an MCP. So that's really cool. If you know what that means, I'll show you in a second. But once you get everything configured inside of Snoooz, you can continue using, if you're using Gmail, you can just go to the web interface. They've got a nice Chrome extension there. So when you're writing emails, or if Snoooz drafts emails on your behalf, you can work with the Chrome extension to refine things to really fit your voice, which we're going to refine later as we get into data sources. But let's go ahead and make a rule that responds to urgent messages. So we'll make a new rule here. I'll call it urgent reply, and we'll have this run always as well. And then I'm going to set the category once again here to be needs reply. Now I could set up a CC or a BCC here. There's a lot of options that you would find in a regular email. So we can even attach files. This is great if someone messages you and asks for like your rates, you could have an instant reply go back with your latest pricing sheet or something like that. This is going to save a ton of time. Now, where I want to focus right now is this generate reply section. So right now it's got set up to use a template, which is more of a boilerplate type of response. I can show you what the template looks like. I could also toggle it over to AI where I can have it respond a little bit more personalized. Okay, my custom prompt here says, write a personalized message thanking them and then let them know I'm overwhelmed with email right now and I'll get back to them within 48 hours. I personally would never set this up, but it's just for an example. That way you're getting a response back to people rather than just letting them wonder if they hit your inbox. We do have the option to send follow-ups here. So if someone doesn't respond to your message, you can create automatic follow-ups that go out without your intervention. And you can toggle that on during certain working hours and include attachments in the follow-ups. And then finally down here, you can also apply a custom label, just like we did before. Now, before I create this rule, I want to go back up to the top here. Notice that I have this set to send reply. That means it's going to go out automatically. I could set a little bit of a delay if I wanted to, but the way it's set up right now, the delay, by the way, is right here. Just turn this on and set the amount of delay you want in seconds. The way it's set up right now, it's just gonna fire off almost instantaneously. So it'll definitely look like an auto response. I would set a delay if you're using this for emails you're trying to pass off as being from a human being. What you can also do is set it up to draft a reply. In this situation, it's just going to put a draft inside of your draft box on Gmail, and then you can go and check it, work with it to get it more like you want it to be, and then send it yourself. That's how I would start all of this for a very long time until you really start to trust the system. Okay, I've added that rule and you can see it down here, urgent reply. It's number 4, and the order of these rules does matter because as the emails come in, it will see if it matches rule 1. If it doesn't, it goes to rule 2. If it doesn't match that, it goes to rule 3, so on and so forth. But once it matches a rule, that's it. It stops there and follows that rule. It doesn't also proceed to go through the rest of the rules that you've set up. And exclusion rules always override inclusion rules. I haven't talked much about exclusion rules, but they're exactly what they sound like. So if you get a message that is clearly spam, it gets sent to your spam box because you have a rule set up for it. Well, it's never going to go through any of your inclusion rules to draft a response. So what I'm going to do is drag my urgent reply rule up to the top here. That'll become rule number 1. And then I can test these rules out with this button over here. This is a really nice addition to the tool. Essentially, I can send a mock email to myself and then see how the AI assistant would respond. So here is my test message. I'm facing an issue setting up rules and I need help urgently. I can run the test, and then over here, it's going to give me a preview of what actually happens. All right, I can see this was categorized as urgent and it got the label inside of my inbox as urgent. And then here's the response. Hi, John, happy to help. Can you tell me more about the issue you're running into or send over a screenshot? So what that tells me is it actually didn't hit this rule, it hit rule number 2, which if I open this up, the prompt was to draft a short professional reply to this urgent or time-sensitive email. And I think it did that perfectly. But what if this was something more specific to your business, like a service that you provide, a negotiation that is ongoing, or even cold outreach towards you? That happens to me. I get people asking me to make videos all the time, and it's hard to get back to everyone inside of email. In that scenario, you'd head over to data sources, and this is where you can provide AI with more information about your business in order to write contextually aware responses. So you just go up to the top here, import your data. You can enter in FAQ questions. It's just kind of like a here's the question, here's the answer scenario. You can upload PDFs, connect up Intercom, Zendesk, Google Drive, Document 360, SharePoint, or even just have it scan your website. And if you've got a lot of information lying around in CSV files, you can upload those. Often you can just have your AI agent or whatever AI tool you're using create those for you, which you can also just skip this section entirely and have your agent connect via MCP and then upload the information on your behalf without having to lift a finger. More on that in a moment, but let's switch over to Gmail here, and I've got the Chrome extension installed, and let me show you what it actually looks like in the context of drafting responses to a message. So I've got a message here. This is a real message from a camera repair shop. I want to write a reply. I can hit reply, and then I can choose draft or improve. So if I started writing a response, so I wrote a response here and I want to use Snoooz to improve it. So it says, sound good, I'll swing by shortly. I want to work with you. Who do I ask for? I'll just select this text and then click on improve here. And you can see it says, sounds good, I'll swing by shortly. Who should I ask for when I get there? And everything is now improved grammatically and all of that, much more intelligently written message. Now, if I wanted to write a message from scratch here, I could just say draft. And I'll say, tell them I'm coming by. Who do I ask for? Then create the draft. Notice there's a little checkbox down there. Maybe you didn't see it. It was to use the knowledge base. So if I wanted to actually grab my data sources, I would check that first. And here it says, hi sales, thanks for letting me know. I'll be by later today to drop off the camera. Who should I ask for when I arrive? So once again here under draft, there's this use knowledge base checkbox. Just turn that on. You can also set the tone to be friendly, concise, formal, empathetic, and then set your length over here. That's about it. There's not a whole lot more to do after you set up your rules and your categories and you have everything configured the way you want. That'll honestly take the most time. Now, there are external integrations you can connect up, like under integrations here, you can work right inside of Missive if your team's already using that. If you use Zendesk, Intercom, or Document 360, very easy integrations to work with there. Under settings, there's a few more options. You can also choose to use a custom AI model. Now, the ability to bring your own key will depend on the AppSumo plan that you purchase. You can see that BYOK is only available on tier 3 and above. And there's a few other checkboxes here to be aware of, like learn from past emails to improve drafts. This is on by default. So if you're constantly getting better at writing emails, the AI will just pick up on that and improve its own prompting in the background without you having to do anything. And I like this option here, only create AI drafts when a reply is clearly needed. In other applications I have used, that's been a real problem where there's clearly, it's like a promotional email. It gets triaged incorrectly and then writes a draft. Hey, thanks for letting me know about this promotion. I'll be sure to, we don't need that kind of stuff, right? So you can choose how relaxed or how strict it is here in terms of creating the actual drafts. The other apps and extension option over here is going to be your Chrome extension or Outlook add-on, so you can connect directly to those. And then there's essentially a guide here for the MCP. If you're wondering how to connect up Claude, ChatGPT, or your OpenClaw agent, your Hermes agent, just open up one of these guides and just give the URL to your AI and it can figure it all out for you. My Hermes agent did it perfectly. Now, in case any of the internet sleuths out there were watching earlier, or you're concerned that I just set up a bunch of weird rules and any emails that are coming in are going to get strange replies, I do have Snoooz inactive right now. So that's important to know. You don't have to have this thing running even if you've connected up your inbox. You can click right over here on your dashboard to turn on and off Snoooz. So if you want it on for specific dates, specific hours, or all the time, you can set that up and you can flat out disable disable it if you want to really test things a little bit more thoroughly before turning it on. So I deactivated it here before hitting record, knowing that I was going to do some kind of silly things, and then I'll be able to restore my rules later on. Because rules, by the way, you can import and export them, which is really handy, especially if you want to go between different accounts. All right, let's get into more of the plans and pricing over at AppSumo. We've talked about the number of inboxes and users that you get. There's also an allotment of monthly AI credits. Now, importantly, if you're willing to open up your wallet a little bit, if you get to tier 5 or tier 6, you get unlimited credits, so you can respond to all of your emails. Very good to know there. Now, the model that is actually drafting the messages is going to be Gemini for every plan tier 3 and below. Once you get up to tier 4, it's got over 300 models to choose from when drafting the emails. I already mentioned earlier that you need tier 2 to get SMTP or IMAP to be available. The scheduling of your replies, that is also going to be a tier 2 thing. Unfortunately, tier 1 just is not all that great. You can pretty much count on probably wanting at least tier 2, but honestly, tier 3 would be my minimum. You can see here delayed auto replies, that's going to be tier 2 again. And the custom AI training, things like using PDFs, FAQs, your website, all of that is going to require typically tier 3 for most of the features here, conversation mode, BYO key. So if you want to connect up to your own, let's say you run out of credits and you want to connect up to your own API key, that is also going to require tier 3. The MCP server, auto follow-ups, you can see these are all, they're pushing you to a higher and higher tier. As AppSumo recommends, tier 4 is the sweet spot where you get almost all features and plenty of usage. But if you go up to tier 6, it unlocks the final feature, which is an e-commerce integration. So you can connect up Shopify or WooCommerce to Snoooz to automatically respond to customer orders, questions, things like that. So I am really excited about Snoooz, not necessarily this application specifically, but the idea of having an AI assistant that knows and understands you and can craft responses as good as Snoooz does. I am on board. I've actually been using several tools over the last few years with varying degrees of success in order to accomplish exactly what Snoooz does. So I'm going to be putting this one to the long-term test in the near future here. There are still some things I wish it did differently, not even necessarily better, just differently. Like I prefer not to use the web client for Gmail. And if I want to use that Chrome extension, of course I have to. I would also love to be able to keep everything local and use local inference, but seeing as that Snoooz is a cloud hosted platform, that is really not possible. Now they do have good options for security. I noticed down here inside of the listing that if you're in the EU and you want data residency, that's something they will offer for you. They're also GDPR compliant and they have other security things that they say they are accredited for. So, once we're starting to upload our data to the AI models like emails, I mean, kind of all security pretense goes out the window to some degree. That's not on Snoooz so much as it is the AI companies that scraped all of humanity in order to give us this technology. Give us. I love AI, but let's be honest, it is what it is. Overall, I think Snoooz is a very exciting product. I'm going to be throwing all my email addresses at it and seeing how it holds up. I can report back here in a few months if there is interest. Hit me up in the comments if you want to see how it actually does under some long-term usage. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, get subscribed for more content like this. My name is Dave. Check out my website at daveswift.com, and I'll be back again soon with another one. Thanks for watching.